And hello and welcome to our ADRC data collection and reporting webinar. Our presenters today is myself. My name is Wilson Tam with the California Department of Aging, and we also have special guest Victoria Jump from the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, and she's part of the Ventura County ADRC partnership. So first, I wanted to cover the importance of collecting data. Why are we doing this? And the primary reason is funders and potential funders, they want to know how exactly does ADRCs benefit those that they serve. So we can do that by, we can show them how they can benefit those they serve by demonstrating the value of our ADRC systems and services. And also, we as a state and as local providers, we want to see data to get a better understanding of the community needs, the populations we serve, open opportunities for growth, and also drive action, whether it is delivery of services, allocation of resources, etc. And this data collection effort is in collaboration with our statewide ADRC Advisory Committee. With their support, we have focused this data, this collection and reporting of data on things that the area agencies on aging, independent living centers, and other ADRC partners are already collecting for your existing funding sources. Some general reporting instructions. So what we're reporting is for each section and category, we're reporting the current running or cumulative total for the reporting period within the current fiscal year, July through June. And what I mean by that is we have 4 reporting periods. We have a 3-month, 6-month, 9 months, and 12 months. So within those reporting periods, you'll be reporting, for example, 3 months, you'll be reporting July through September, and 6 months, you'll be reporting July through December, for example. Data would be collected from your core and extended partners and consolidated into one workbook for submission to CDA after the end of each quarter. However, if there's a certain category that your organization does not collect data for, you can just go ahead and click the Do Not Collect checkbox, and I'll provide more examples of that as we go through the next slides. And lastly, for our general reporting instructions, we're reporting demographics of the individuals that were served by the ADRC, not the people or the providers that are calling in on behalf of the individual, but the individual that is actually provided the services. So in the, and this is, the next slides are going to be referring to the ADRC data collection and reporting workbook. And within this workbook, there are it contains 5 tabs. 1 tab is for the cover sheet, and 4 tabs are for each of the reporting periods that we had mentioned earlier, the 3-month, 6, 9, and the 12-month periods. And so the next few slides, we're actually going to go through each of these tabs and provide a brief overview about what information we're collecting for each tab, and also provide an opportunity for you to ask any questions you may have. So this is the cover sheet tab. Within the cover sheet tab, we're collecting 3 pieces of information. One is your partnership name. So your partnership name should already be in the drop-down menu. So you would just click the white box, and the drop-down menu would appear, and your ADRC should already be listed in that drop-down menu. Thereafter, what we're asking for is listing the names of each of your ADRC core and extended partners that reported data during the current fiscal year that you're reporting for. So on your screen, there's a screenshot example of what that may look like. Within each of those reporting tabs, so again, those 3, 6, 9, and 12-month reporting tabs, what you'll see in the beginning is you'll see the ADRC partnership name, which should automatically be populated on top based on what you have selected on the cover sheet. So it should automatically populate. So for example, here we have the Ventura county ADRC partnership. And what's also pre-filled is the reporting period and also the fiscal year that's being reported for. Thereafter, for each of the different categories and sections, in each cell, you may either enter a number or click the Do Not Collect box as shown on your screen. So as you can see, if you don't collect the information, just click Do Not Collect. If you do, just go ahead and enter the numbers and it should automatically total at the bottom. So for this slide, we're covering what is, again, in each reporting tab, there are different data categories, and those categories are divided into sections A through G. And so these slides will be providing an overview about each of those sections. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be providing a opportunity to open up for questions after each of these sections. So for section A, consumer demographics, we're reporting the current running total or cumulative total for each core partner and the aggregate total of extended partners. So these categories, consumer demographic categories include consumer age, consumer race and ethnicity, consumer gender identity, consumer sex at birth, consumer sexual orientation or sexual identity, and characteristics of consumers. So in section A, you can note that in the workbook that each core partner has an individual column for them to fill in their data. But for extended partners, we're asking for a consolidated aggregate amount to be included into that one column. So within section A, consumer demographics, we have consumer age as one of the categories that we're collecting. And you'll notice that within consumer age, we're collecting information for both those who are 60 years and older and also 65 years and older. Reason being that there are different programs and different stakeholders out there that are defining older adults differently. So we decided to collect information for both, again, 60 and older and 65 and older. What you'll also notice is that in each category, we've included the option to select decline to state or missing. Reason for this is to help show that there may have been more people that were served even though their age was not collected. So that any number that you include in decline to state or missing will also be tabulated as part of the total. For the next three categories, we have what we call our sexual orientation and gender identification, or SOGI categories. Area agencies on aging are already collecting this data as part of their funding requirements. Independent living centers may not be collecting this data, which is okay, but since AAA is already collecting it, we're asking for it here. The definitions of each SOGI category is provided in the ADRC data collection and reporting instructions, which you have probably received by now, and it will also be posted on the CDA ADRC website. So if your organization collects this data, go ahead and report the number of unduplicated individuals that are under each of these categories. And then, but if your organization does not collect it, just go ahead and click the Do Not Collect checkbox. This would conclude section A. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions, and in case anyone have any questions.
Okay, we actually do have a question from Jennifer. She wants to know, how is the data collected from extended partners?
That's a good question. So each ADRC, and we don't really have any specific way of doing it, but each ADRC would be whoever that coordinator is for submitting the workbook to CDA quarterly would be just collecting that information from their extended partners, consolidating it into one number, and then inputting it into the workbook before submitting it. And the reason we didn't have a column for every extended partners because each ADRC really varies. Some have as low as, you know, a couple extended partners, and some have 30 plus. So I mean, and that's the reason we consolidated all the extended partners into one column. I hope that answered your question. So the next section is section B, which is the core components. And what we're reporting is the current total for the 4 core components from each core partner and the aggregate total of the extended partners. So same as section A. And you'll notice that transition services is broken down into 4 different kind of subcategories. So that way we can collect specifically where the transition, what kind of transition it was. Another category I want to point out is the short-term service coordination, which may cause a little bit of confusion due to its name. We recommend to just focus on the definition of short-term service coordination. So if an individual who receives services meets that definition of short-term service coordination, go ahead and count it. The confusing part is that it states short-term, but in reality, it can the coordination or the service coordination can either be short or long-term, depending on the needs of the individual that we're serving. And with short-term service coordination being currently stated in law, it may, you know, we want to make sure we capture that in our data collection workbook, but you know, we can't really make changes to it. But if we do wish to make changes, it may take some time to, you know, amend the law and so on and so forth. So we've kept the name, but what we're asking is that we focus on the definition of short-term service coordination, which is also defined in the data collection and reporting instructions that were provided to you. Section C, outreach and enrollment activities. So for this section, what we're collecting is the current total for your entire ADRC partnership network. So unlike section A and B, where we're breaking it out from the different core partners and extended partners, in section C, what we're asking for is for your entire ADRC partnership network. So we're reporting the number of outreach / presentation and application / enrollment activities performed, and also the number of contacts reached under each of these categories. Note that some categories may be reported under multiple categories. For example, if your organization has an outreach booth at a health fair and shared information about CalFresh and SSI, then the activity may be reported under 2 categories. Also, for example, if the same event included both outreach presentation and application and enrollment activities, that event may also be reported in 2 categories. If you wish to report data on a category that's not listed, because as you see on your screen, we only listed some types of activities, but not, I'm sure there are plenty more out there. If there's one that's not listed, go ahead and just fill in one of the other please specify rows, and then enter in your data. And then what CDA will do is, if we notice there's any popular additions, we may consider it to make it a permanent option as part of the data collection template. Section D, partnership development and training. What we're asking for is reporting the current total and information for your entire ADRC partnership network. So again, like section C, we're reporting the total for the entire ADRC partnership network. So for breaking it down, section D has 2 categories. One is partnership and one is training. So this slide pertains to the partnership category. We're reporting the total number of unduplicated partner organizations in the box shown. And then in addition, we're reporting the name of each partner organizations that fall under each of those categories. Note that some partner organizations may be reported under multiple categories. For example, an organization who is a mental health provider but also provide crisis hotline services. In this case, this organization can be reported under both categories, both mental health and crisis hotline. So this it pertains, is still Section D, pertaining to training, the training category. What we're asking for is reporting the date of training, number of partner organizations that attended the training, and the number of staff trained from the most recent cross-partner training for each training topic. That's a little bit of a mouthful, but what we mean by that, by cross-partner trainings is should at a minimum include all the core partners. So what we're trying to capture here is that hopefully for each of the training topics, the ADRC would have had at least all their core partners conduct a kind of a cross-agency training, so that way everyone is getting the same information and providing, have the same knowledge and providing the same services to the individuals that we serve. So this section E is we're capturing a success story or program highlight. What we're trying to do is share a participant success story to show the value of the ADRC system and or highlight a new connection or partnership within your ADRC. So if you have a success story or program highlight to share, when you submit the workbook, just go ahead and attach a separate document with that success story or program highlight. And in section E of the workbook, just go ahead and click See Attached Document so we know to look for an attachment. However, if you're not currently collecting this information, just go ahead and click the Do Not Collect box. Section F, what we're trying to do is identifying the biggest barriers. What we're asking is for you to share the biggest barriers in providing services or connecting people to services in your area. And again, if you have something to share with us, attach it as a separate document and click the See Attached Document box, checkbox. If you don't collect it, just select Do Not Collect. We're hoping that previously with section E, with a success story and program highlight, and with biggest barriers, we're hoping that ADRCs would be willing to share that because that will help us identify what we're doing well, but also identify opportunities for improvement in the future. Section G, so this is the last section of the workbook, and all we're asking for is the person that's reporting it to state the full name and title of that person who's submitting the report, and also the date of when the report was sent to CDA. And this is just to let us know who submitted on behalf of that particular ADRC and who we may be able to contact in case we have any questions. And that concludes the overview about the different sections of the workbook. I hope it wasn't too bad. I mean, it seemed like we got through it pretty quick. We do recognize, and you may have identified some feedback that you have already, but we recognize that without a shared data collection system, we're pretty limited in our data collection and reporting capabilities. So with this Excel spreadsheet, we feel that it is, even though we don't have that shared data collection system, we feel that it is a good start and it opens up opportunities for future improvement and growth. So with that being said, just want to thank you for your partnership and collaboration in collecting and reporting data to demonstrate the value of our ADRC partnership systems and services provided. So lastly, if you have any questions or feedback that you think of after this webinar, please go ahead and just contact us at adrc@aging.ca.gov. And what we'll do, what the ADRC program staff here will do is we'll compile your questions and feedback, and we'll share it with the entire ADRC network, so that way everyone will get the same information in case they have the same questions as you may have.
Wilson, it looks like we have a question that came in. It's about section E, and they said, in the first 3 months, we do have a success story and clicked the box. But for 6 months, we do not have a new success story. Do we check the do not collect box, even though we did check off the box in the first 3 months?
Oh, that's a great question. So if you submitted at the 3-month mark success story, we would already have the success story here saved already at CDA. So you would just go ahead and just click the do not collect box for the if you don't have one for the following reporting periods. Great. So it looks like there isn't any additional questions. So thank you again for joining this webinar, and thank you again for your support of collecting data and reporting data to really show the value, and hopefully it'll open us up for opportunities for future growth and improvement. With that, we'll go ahead and conclude. If you have any questions or feedback, again, that's email us at adrc@aging.ca.gov. Thank you very much.